What's up, Dragon Brood? So, you know what today is? Well, I guess it's Wednesday, but it does mean another day of card reviews for Core Set 21. And we're going to hop right into it and see what we've got. So, we're opening up with this thing. We don't have an actual good name for it, we're just using rough translation. But they're calling it Garricks Uprising. It's a 2 colorless, 1 green enchantment. When it comes into play, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you draw a card. All your creatures have trample. And then if you play a creature with 4 or greater, or actually I guess if it enters the battlefield, that is a difference. You get to draw a card. How good is it? I don't really know. I think there's some green decks we've played recently that do rely on trample, so that could be kind of cool. It does make a few other cards a little bit better. Having a steady thing that lets you draw extra cards is kind of nice, and it's hard to remove. So, I give it a thumbs up. On power level, it's not real strong, but it may find a way into a few lists. So, conspicuous Snoop is kind of funny. So, it's a 2 red, 2/2. It's a Goblin Rogue. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may cast Goblin spells from the top of your library. And then, as long as the top of your library is a goblin, the Snoop, I should say, gets all those activated abilities. So this is kind of an interesting card, right? Because it's a 2/2 for 2, which is okay. But when you're playing older formats with the goblins that do a bunch of different things, it's very possible you could have this where maybe you could tap it to do a thing. You could sacrifice it to deal damage. I mean, there's a lot of little things it can do. Now, unfortunately, some of the goblins people play with in the popular goblin decks actually have triggered abilities, not activated abilities. So that's a little bit different. But, maybe your siege gang's on top and you get another way to sacrifice some goblins when you need to deal some damage. Does it have a home? I don't know, but it's a very cool card, and I just appreciate what they're doing with it. Alright, so transmogrify here is 3 colorless, 1 red, sorcery. Exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals the top card of their library until they reveal a creature card. That player puts the card onto the battlefield, then shuffles the rest into their library. So it's like several other cards we've seen of this type, where you sacrifice something, then you just reveal till you get to a creature and put it into play. There's very likely going to be a deck where there's 1 or 2 early things, and then maybe you're just playing whatever the big creature is you're trying to get. Or maybe you play no creatures in the deck and you play things that make tokens, then you sacrifice the token, then go get a real creature. So definitely some things you're going to be able to do with this for sure. So Heartfire Emulator is actually a cool little card. It's 1 and 1 red, 2/2, human wizard. So again, another human. It does have prowess, as we've seen this set has a lot of prowess stuff. And then you can pay 1 red, sacrifice it. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. This is a good little useful card to have, because even if you don't end up making it a 3/3 or 4/4, it's very possible you might just need to finish off a planeswalker, or maybe there's a blocker in the way, so you can send your whole team in, force a weird blocking situation for the opponent. I could see this card getting played in a few different decks, maybe even some aggro decks of some type, even if they don't play a ton of spells, just because the ability to give you almost another removal card in a way among your creatures without having to play an extra card. So, kind of neat. We'll see where it fits. This thing is wild, y'all. You talking about wilding out. This card's crazy. So, Fire Emancipation, it's 3 and 3 red, so 6 mana for an enchantment. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. I don't even know what to think about this. If I'm playing this in, say, even a Gruul list, is this a home for that? Where I can play it and then every creature I have, especially with haste, at that point doing 6 damage plus? Maybe? I don't, if we're doing something like Gruul Spellbreaker, then is it doing 9? I mean, with trample? This is crazy. I don't know what to think about this card. I mean, 6 may just be too much and not do enough for just being an enchantment and not doing anything itself, so that's totally viable. But yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if I get wrecked by this card at least once. Furious Rise is an interesting enchantment too. It's 2 colorless, 1 red. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you exile another card with Furious Rise. So it's kind of neat, right? You get the card set up at the end of your turn, then you have through your next turn to be able to play it. So it's kind of interesting. I don't really know how I feel about it. It's a first time I can think of where we've had some of the like a conditional setup to that type, where you only get the one turn, but then you could possibly set up another card for the following turn. I'm not even sure the type of deck it belongs in. Obviously, the enchantment we started talking about today, where if you have creatures with power 4 or greater, you could get extra cards. Like, this kind of fits into that. I think the other question becomes, though, how many things you're going to play that are non-creatures versus how many things you're going to play to, like, or how many just creatures you're going to play to be able to trigger these cards. I think it's going to be part of the issue. But if somebody figures it out, you could end up playing a pretty effective creature deck with a fair amount of card draw. And truthfully, I don't even know if both of these would even exist in the same deck. Like, do you need a thing that's letting you draw every time you play a creature and then just get a free card every turn, right? Or do you need those to be more creatures so that you can trigger either one more reliably? I think that's going to be kind of some of the balance there we have to figure out. Well, that wasn't too bad today. It was kind of short. There were a couple of dogs. There was a 2-mana 1/2 that had fire breathing. You pay 1 and a colorless, gets +2 power. There was also another dog that was a 2/2 for 1 and 1 white. I believe that was Alpine Dog or something. Alpine something. And it's just a 2/2 with vigilance. So if you're looking for more dogs, I'm just kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm on dog watch now for the set to let everybody know what's actually happening and what's coming out, so when they're looking for that. So yeah, today's video is not too bad, pretty short. Didn't have anything major we were really worried about to talk about. Lots of good filler cards today if you want to go back and check out those lists. I didn't really think it was worth covering a lot of them because they're not superstar cards. They're just kind of filling in gaps in some of the strategies that they've already revealed to us. We still have a lot to look ahead to, though. There's still a couple of Planeswalkers and all their associated cards. Definitely a lot of rares and mythics that still haven't been revealed. So I expect here today, I guess tomorrow and Friday could actually end up being some pretty big stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And we may do one video that's kind of just a wrap up with general opinions of the entire set once we see it available. But if you haven't, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel because that helps us out a lot. Hit the notification bell so you know every time I have one of these review videos up. And that's all I have for you today. We'll see you with more reviews tomorrow.